a system that he could learn and get it done, because Joey was a pretty decent quarterback. But I know that even when he left the Lions, he bounced around. So I won't totally blame the Lions, but you got to have good coaching, an offensive coordinator, and you have to have a good head coach, and you have to have stability at arguably the most important positions. So with that said, I know you have something that really wears on you a little bit, so go ahead. This is your opportunity to talk about it.
Well, we always say here on The Real and the Rare, we do more than sports here, and this is one of those topics for our listeners. We're taking this a little more serious to this topic here, so we're going to have a little bit more somber of a tone here. So I just want to tell everyone that ahead in advance, because we have to address mental health right now. It just feels like this is the time for us to do so. There's so many people out there with other platforms who are not addressing this particular issue right now, and we have the platform to do so. And, it's time for us to start saving lives if we can do so, because depression has no name, depression has no face, and you never know who's going through it. That's why I really go out of my way, Scott, to make it an effort to remember that you have to be nice to people. You have to be sensitive to what it is that people may be going through, no matter what some of the foolish things is that they may do around you. Now, I want to point this out as well. We know the difference in between not letting people walk all over you and take advantage of you,
right,
and being a jerk. We know the differences in that. When you're standing up for yourself and you're not letting people walk all over you and you're drawing the line in the sand, that's one thing. But flat out being a jerk to people, because we have a lot of people in our world who do that, and they get a pleasure out of doing that. And it's the time out for it is now, because in the Sarasota Bradenton community in particular, Scott, we have had 3 suicide murder situations now in the past 6 days, and it's really bizarre right now. And I also want to point this out. These were elderly couples who were involved in this. This appeared to allegedly be all of them domestic violence cases that ended in murder, and 3 of them resulting in suicide, and another one that was supposed to be an attempted suicide, but the gun malfunctioned on the man. And I'll speak in particular about the latest incident right there that I'm referring to. When I went into work on yesterday, for those who don't know, I am a digital producer with WWSB ABC7 in Sarasota, your Suncoast News. And I arrived yesterday, and to my email, and my direct supervisor who works right beside me, he's saying this to me. He's like, listen, I just wrote up this article about another murder-suicide situation that occurred here in the city. You can send a push notification on this if you would like. So I send the push notification. 10 minutes later, we get another email, because we were directly put under the impression that this was another alleged murder-suicide situation. Well, this actually was not a murder-suicide situation. We get an email back from the police chief telling us that this was simply just a murder. It was an attempted suicide. This was a 94-year-old man, and he decided to shoot his 80-year-old wife, who was suffering from dementia, and he decided that he wanted to put her out of her misery. And I was having this discussion with my mother yesterday, and it absolutely just had my blood boiling for a plethora of different reasons. Number one is the fact that who are you to decide that you want to put someone out of their misery or that you want to end someone's life? Even if your wife may have asked you to do something like that, now that news has not come out yet. I'm just putting that out there as a hypothetical if something like that were said or something like that were to possibly come out.
Okay.
I don't believe it will be, but I'm just putting that out there. Even if something like that were to come out, you still don't act on that. You don't do that, because that's just the wrong thing to do. And another problem I had with this was when this article was posted on our Facebook page, you had a numerous amount of people coming into the comment sections. And many of them just saying, let him go. He's 94 years old. He's already got to live with this. And probably won't live much longer anyway. No, a crime is a crime. If this man was 34 years old, these same people who were saying let him go because he's 94, if he was a 34-year-old man, these people would be clamoring for him to be thrown under the jail, put in the electric chair,
right,
lock him up, throw away the key, all of these things. This man does not get a pass for this because he was 94 years old. But that was just some sight to behold yesterday, looking at our website for hours. And the top story that I'm sitting there looking at is this 94-year-old man allegedly killing his 80-year-old wife because she was suffering from dementia and he wanted to put her out of her misery. And I'm just sitting there staring at a mugshot of a 94-year-old man in an orange jail suit with a breathing machine on. I mean, that's an image that's going to be in my head for quite some time.
right,
Because, you know, I don't hear stories about people who are 94 years old going to jail. And I definitely don't hear stories about them using guns to shoot people.
right,
And clearly, you know, something went wrong there with that situation as well. It was a wrong incident all the way around, but for the gun to malfunction on him, I'm not sure why the gun malfunctioned. I'm not sure how it malfunctioned, but the gun malfunctioned on it. So this man more than likely had no business with the gun anyway.
right,
Because his wife was suffering from dementia. I want to know, was he suffering from any health issues as well? Because the reason I say that is because I'm not being ill of the elderly with what I'm about to say, but I said this to my mother, and I'm going to say this right now.
okay,
Most of the people who I know who are 90-plus years old, they suffer from a form of arthritis. And when you have a form of arthritis, you're not exactly able to handle things with your hands the way that you once could. So, you know, that's why it also was kind of shocking to me to also hear this story as well, and just to hear the way that it has played out so far. Now, I have not received any other further details on this story today. I was off work today, and I have not read any other updates on this story yet today. But it's just a very sad situation that's going on right now with the murder-suicide situations in this area. But we have suicide situations that are going around all over this country and this world anyway. And now this is where I want to address the younger audience. But before I do so, do you have anything that you would like to add to what I just said?
Yeah, I actually do. Here's where I'm going to start, okay? You know, you can't give a 94-year-old a free pass, but I might be a little bit more sympathetic in that situation, because you got to remember, I come from an area in Detroit where, you ever heard of a guy by the name of Dr. Jack Kevorkian?
Yes.
Dr. Death, okay? Now, here's a guy that, you know, it's all about assisted suicide. I know it's a very controversial topic. I am glad we're bringing this to the forefront. I don't have a problem with that if somebody's terminally ill. I really don't, whether you know it or not. And I'll tell you why, because there's no reason why anybody should suffer any longer than they have to do. Now, that may have been a consensual thing, but you had a doctor that was doing it, and then you had, and it was getting off all the time. So I don't really oppose to something like that. I really don't. And now other states are probably legalizing it a little bit. So, you know, I mean, there are certain exceptions, Xavier, to every rule, okay, for which things are done. Now, in the manner for which you're talking about it, you don't even know whether or not they had discussions that you don't know about, whether that's what she wanted to do. So for me, if it's something she thought about doing, I might be inclined to be a little lenient on this one, but without having all the facts, that's where my gut feeling would be, okay? I'm just telling you the truth, Xavier. I'm talking about a guy that Dr. Jack Kevorkian used to help people die by letting them go because of medication in their system so that you don't have to prolong the inevitable. Think about it. If you had a disease like that, do you think you'd want to stay around longer than necessary? Or do you feel that you're just better off getting it over with, that you don't have to suffer any longer?
It's hard for me to answer that conversation because this is a slippery slope of
right.
the topic anyway. And
right.
like you said, I'm glad that we're discussing it.
Okay.
I could see on one hand where that could be a factor, but just for me in general, I feel it's wrong to end someone's life. It's wrong for doctors to get away with doing that too.
Right.
I want to go ahead and I want to point that out too. It's flat out wrong for them to do that. But as you said, it's like we have to take into consideration the suffering that those who are suffering from terminal illnesses are going through. And that's where things get really dicey and they get really difficult.
Right. All right. Let's talk about the actual thing itself. I know that we could probably devote other shows. I like topics like this more than I like other stuff, okay? Because this is very enlightening. But again, I'm not going to sit here and beat up a 94-year-old man, okay, that's in a orange jumpsuit with a breathing machine on there because, they're going to certainly put him in. If he does get convicted of these crimes, where are you going to put him anyway? Is he going to let him go to jail? What kind of a trial is he going to have? Is he going to get life in prison, whatever he's got left? Am I being sarcastic? No. Maybe does my voice seem a little more animated? Maybe a little bit. But what are you going to do with the 94-year-old guy? Yeah, arthritis is something you can take into consideration. But unless you know what the actual discussions were between him and his significant other, I have an aunt that's dealing with dementia. And I'm going to tell you this, and I hate to say this, but I will do it live, okay? My wife and I saw her recently, and she didn't know who we were. I may never see her again because it was too emotional for me to ever go back and see her again after what I saw. That's tough to deal with. It really is. You have a maybe I will go back, but boy, I'm certainly, after the last visit, certainly not inclined to really want to do it because I want to remember her for all the positive things, not the way she's going down quietly with this silent killer.
And I definitely understand that. I definitely understand where you're coming from there. There's another short story here that I'm going to share before we get into the actual mental health and suicide itself situation without the murders.
Okay.
Right now. I'm going to mention this right now. I have a former professor at Savannah State in the Mass Communications Department. His mother just recently passed away, and she was suffering from dementia as well. She had it for the past few years. I'm not sure how many years she had been suffering from it, but she had been suffering from dementia, and it was getting more extreme by the days and by the months, and eventually everything just took its toll, and she passed away with natural causes, and she's no longer physically here with us. I would like to believe that she has gone on to a better place because I didn't know her personally, but from everything that I've heard about her, this was a very wonderful woman who cared about others and only wanted to see the best for others as well, for herself and her family as well, but really wanted to do right by others. But I bring up this story because when you bring up, it's tough to sit there and watch them go through that. It reminds me of when my former professor's mother was alive. And almost every Sunday, he would post to his Facebook page different videos of him and his children and his father and maybe even other relatives in his family at times. They would go to the nursing home or the facility that his mother was at while she was suffering with this disease. And he would call this Sunday Sweets because he would go visit with his mother and he would share dessert with her and they would listen to some music together and they would pray with each other and they would leave. And like I said, she had been suffering from this for the past few years. She just recently passed away actually a few weeks ago. So, I'm going to say right here on the air, my prayers and condolences continue to go out to the family as they continue to cope with this at this very difficult time. However, I'm also going to say this too. Like I said, she had been suffering with this for the past few years. So I knew a little about this when I was still a student at Savannah State University. And one of the things that we noticed, a few of my classmates and I, we saw this taking a toll on him, meaning our former professor. We saw all of this that was taking a toll on him. And other things that were going on with the school and other things going on in personal lives as well that we may not have even known about. But that instance in particular, no matter how sweet and how beautiful that was for us to view on Facebook, with this man spending time with his elderly mother who cared for him when he was young and helped see him through his life, and now he's caring for her as she's going through this very terrible battle with this terminal illness. we saw how much of a